Ladies and gentlemen, you asked for it, you wanted it, you got it. There's no better way on a Thursday afternoon here in New York, a Thursday evening across the pond in the UK, to be speaking with a world heavyweight champion of the world, our GTM champion. And boy, what a way he took that championship away from Gareth Angel. We're going to get into that here. There's so much to talk about with GTM. We're getting ready for Judgment Day next Saturday. We're going to recap what happened first at Resurrection and much more. He had a plan. I don't know how he pulled this one off, but he certainly defied the odds. He finally got one over on Gareth Angel, and we're going to talk about it right now live on all of our platforms, including Roku, Northeast Streaming Sports Channel, our flagship, sportnarium.com/player, also Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and much, much more. So without further ado here on the Sports Report, the number one rubber sports show, the GTM World Champion, Jack the Champ, Johnson. Champ,
Yes,
welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. How are we?
I'm great. Let's see how my voice holds up after that. But my friend, you pulled off something that I don't know what anybody saw down there in Bradford. We saw the back and forth that you and Gareth Angel had a few months ago, but you pulled one over on him. And talk about it for our audience listening, watching this, on how it unfolded. And you are now the GTM World Heavyweight Champion.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. History maker. That's what I like to say.
Well, talk about it, because obviously I got to tell you something. I'm watching all this all unfold, right? And I see everything that seemed like what was going down between Dangerous. There was a little bit of dissension. Everything's going on throughout the match, and it looks like Gareth Angel, in his usual self, is going to find a way here to pull it out. And then we see Maverick Matt Williams come out. Maverick Matt Williams, who was a part of the fatal four-way match to determine the number one contendership. And it seemed like Maverick Matt Williams was going to even the score with Gareth Angel. And maybe we're talking with Gareth Angel right now. But alas, the money certainly, where everybody has a price, certainly paid to fruition, pun intended. And we saw what Maverick Matt Williams did when it came to Mr. Gareth Angel. And speak about, what's going on through your head when that all happens?
Well, I mean, obviously we had a plan from the get-go, didn't we? We had to bring the belt back to Salford, you know what I mean? And we was kind of sat down after we had a bit of an altercation. We can't lie. But brothers fight, you know how it goes. That things like that happen. And we thought to ourselves, like, how are we really going to do this? And then you see someone like Matt, and Matt's an opportunist. If the price is right, he'll do it. You know what I mean? He's got that mentality, and for him, the price was right, and it paid off in the end. Because look, here we are, and it's crazy.
Well, let me ask you something about that, because you talk about the price, right? We have a lot to get into here for sure, but when it comes to that, and don't tip your hand, don't tell me every single thing that went on before it happened, and all how it arrived. But I mean, what price is that? I mean, for Maverick Matt Williams. I mean,
well, it could be the price of his soul after this, because I'm pretty sure Gazzy's going to be wanting to know why. You know, I'm pretty sure the rest of the people are wanting to know why. So for Matt, it could be a nice, wealthy price that could help him in the future. It could be his downfall, really. So depends really what happens in the future and what he uses it for.
Well, I know it's early. Well, I'll tell you what, Champ. I know it's early to speculate and we are, just as crazy as it sounds, several short days away from Judgment Day coming up here next Saturday. But I almost have to ask you, will we see Maverick Matt Williams potentially as a member of Dangerous now? Is that something where you guys are looking to add members, add ranks? I mean, I got to bring that up.
We'll do a little exclusive. So I'm going to just go out there now as the king of GTM, as the champ. I can pretty much do what I want. And so at the next show, I'm going to do the Life in Crimes episode part 2, the King's Coronation. And for me, I feel like it's only right if Matt's my guest. So I feel like the answer to your question will happen on Saturday. We'll see whether Matt.
Okay, all right. So obviously, a King's Coronation here. Now, I almost have to ask you, and we certainly appreciate that.
I'm the king.
Well, that's true. Well, you are the world champion. I can't dispute that. And listen, certainly we want to speak with world champions, and you definitely certainly proved a lot of people wrong there in Bradford. So I almost have to ask you: is this going to be almost like, I don't know, like a King's Court with Jerry Lawler, a Heartbreak Hotel, or Chris Jericho show, or the Miz's show? I mean,
it's a bit more unique. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with Jeremy Kyle, but yes. It's an old talk show where people kind of settle the differences. It's pretty Jerry Springer, but I thought it would be a great way to bring it into wrestling. As someone, I've come from that kind of background, I thought, why not? Let's do my own version. And the plan is to get all the answers out of Matt and see why he really did it. That's the plan. But it's going to be a big, huge celebration, mainly. And we're going to rub it in everybody's face in Bradford, and I can't wait.
Well, this is going to be, I'm sure, for you, extra sweet, because we've spoke about Salford the first time you came on, and we spoke about all of that, and certainly the back and forth that you and Gareth Angel had. I mean, from your vantage point of view.
Almost a year in the making. A lot of people don't realise, but me and Gaz first encountered July 24th, my birthday last year.
We spoke about that. Oh, we had quite a conversation on that.
Literally, I'm just hoping now that he leaves me alone. Now I've got the title, just don't do.
Well, we're gonna get to Mr. Angel here, and we're gonna get to also the number one contender, Bentley, who has a win over obviously Maverick Matt Williams and Rarebit, and also Alex Boyle and the Metal Guy. We'll get to all.
To be fair, I'm not gonna lie.
What's that?
I think he got lucky.
Well, you know what? I mean, that match, listen, in a fatal four-way, you have to get lucky, to be fair.
Yeah, that's
in a fatal four-way, you do have to get lucky.
It's good, but there's no Alex Boylan. There's no Rarebit. You know what I mean?
Well, Rarebit, listen, I saw Rarebit in the ring, and a couple of different companies are laid. You got to have some luck to beat Rarebit. There's no question that undeniably so. You're going to need some luck. And you're going to need some luck, ladies and gentlemen, to defeat our world champion, of course, of GTM. That is, of course, Mr. Jack the Champ Johnson, who's renamed himself Jack the Champ Johnson. And look at that pretty belt here, ladies and gentlemen. I know that Gareth Angel held the belt. It was pretty, but look at Jack Johnson holding the belt. It's a pretty belt. I mean, forget about Tyson. Forget about Roman. Forget about anybody else you might be thinking about. We got the real champ, ladies and gentlemen. This is a huge treat for us.
It's possibly the nicest title in UK wrestling.
I have to tell you, and you know this. I got to tell you, and you know this because we speak with a lot of wrestlers all over the scene here. I have to say, and I'm not just saying it because I get to see a lot of world champions. We've had a number of them on here. Many of them you've been in the ring with. That is a very pretty title. I mean, that is a title that it's right up. Frankly, it's right up there with an AEW, an Impact, a WWE title. I mean, that's a title that, you must be making sure that's as polished and clean as possible. I would have to think.
I went to put it in the pawn shop, but they couldn't afford it.
Well, I mean, I'm kind of surprised you would have said that. I would imagine, though, I figured that. I was going to say, I mean, you worked real hard for this championship. I would have definitely figured that that was definitely not going to be the case here. But it is certainly a tremendous honor to have you here. And going forward, and I'm sure a lot of things are going to be asked here coming up this Saturday. But let's go over the match here in terms of some of the spots in this match. There was at least 3 or 4 different instances where I literally thought you were going to put Gareth Angel in, I guess, the casket, the tomb, whatever you want to call it. And he just kept finding ways. I mean, when you're going through a match like this, was this something you expected? I mean, even the RKO off the top rope. I mean, walk me through as the match goes on, because it was a match that took a while for the outcome. I mean, did you feel at any point a little nervous? Walk me through that.
Hell yeah, I was nervous from the get-go. Wrestling someone like Gaz, it's not really a wrestling match, it's more of a fight because he doesn't give up. You know what I mean? This is a guy that's fought extremely hard to be where he's at. You can't deny that, you can't take that away from him. So when it gets to the nitty-gritty and it gets serious, he can fight, he can handle himself. So you go into it and you've got to be nervous. For me, nerves shows that you care, and if you don't have nerves, then why are you here? So you're going to get nervous. But the nerves get turned up when it's with someone like that because it's unpredictable. Like I say, he's a fighter. He won't give up. And there's so many times I thought I'd won it, but he kept fighting back. That's why you've got to make plans around these things. That's why you've got to be smart, because then I know he's not going to give up. So then I've made plan B, plan C, plan D to make sure he gives up. You know what I mean?
And I've got some comments in here. So first of all, let's get to some of the comments now that we're on here. So Joe Wynn says, key phrase for now. So he's saying, for now, you're the world champion. I mean, I don't know. Roman Reigns has been champion for almost 2 years. So listen, Jack the Champ Johnson could be champion for a long time here. Could be a very, very long reign here in GTA.
No one thought I'd be champion. I'm just some kid from Salford. You know, I mean, like.
For whatever reason, Killer Guns N' Roses song there. For whatever reason, we have.
Sort your life out, Josie.
Becky Fox says champ, 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 champ. So that's obviously somebody a fan. Now, there's somebody here that I have to throw a comment in here. And obviously, they're a fan of a wrestler. So let's certainly bring in that individual who's a fan of maybe somebody that you're going to be in the ring with very soon. And that is none other than Bentley. So this is a fan of Bentley's. And he says here, Bentley, lucky in the fatal four-way ? Claymored everyone in the match, including your minions. Champ, your responses to that, that's from a fan. That's a fan of Bentley's. Your response to that.
I've already beat Bentley. That's all I need to say.
Okay. So that's a swift response there.
Yeah, I mean, Bentley's good. He's sound. He's respected. He works hard. But when you fight someone like me, you're not just... You're fighting the odds, and unfortunately, I don't think Bentley's got it in him. There's a difference in mindset with Bentley. You know what I mean? Like, he wants it, he thinks it's great, he thinks it's cool to have a title, but I need it, and that's the difference.
Well, I want to say this. Let me ask you this question before I get in more comments. When it comes to you, in terms of your approach, I know it's early, but do you feel you're a different person now that you have that gold in terms of everything that you're looking to do in the ring, especially with GTM? Because I'll get to some other places in a little while. But you feel a different man. I don't want to quote unquote say a changed man, but do you feel a different man?
Well, yeah, because you realize now that it's possible. You know what I mean? You think, oh, it's just a dream. But when it becomes a reality, of course it changes your mindset, because now you've got to think, I've done all these horrible things just to get here. So now I'm going to have to start from the beginning and do even worse things just to stay here. It's like, I'm a savage. I don't care who you are. I will smash you in the face. And it's turned that from 11 to 55. You know what I mean?
Well, all right. So that's certainly a fair point here. And also, obviously, there's a lot of comments in here I want to get to. So we'll do that here also. But most importantly, if you like what you hear from our world champion, Jack the Champ Johnson, you got to follow him. You got to follow him on Twitter, Jack Johnson Pro, Instagram, Jack Johnson Pro, and keep up to date with all the great things that he is doing here and much, much more. And obviously, we're talking all things related to GT Ministries. You can like GT Ministries on Facebook at GT Ministries UK. Also, Twitter, Instagram. Subscribe to the YouTube page where you can watch Resurrection and you can watch how it all unfolded. You can also watch some of the ceremonies afterwards where you get into if you are a believer in Jesus Christ or looking for more information. You can also see that as well. And obviously, there's some church service. And by the way, great house band, by the way. So even if you're
fantastic.
I mean, my goodness, it was almost like, what did you guys have, like a live concert? It was like phenomenal music. I mean, forget about like when you'd have all those different things here. I mean, just incredible.
They do things differently at GTM. I'm telling you, it's the place.
I gotta be honest, the professionalism at GT Ministries, it's just beyond what any company does. I mean, and you know me.
It's insane.
It's incredible. And I got a comment in here from another friend and obviously somebody you know very, very well. And that is, of course, Blue Glasses Girl, of course, who is a huge part of GTM. Got to give her a huge shout out. She does a phenomenal job with GTM. And I know you know her very well. And she agrees with Joe Wynn. I mean, what's your thoughts on a colleague of yours, quote unquote, in Blue Glasses Girl? So that's all you want to say. All you want to say.
I don't need to say anything.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
For now, we'll see you May 14th. We'll see.
Okay, well, I want to get to May 14th, and I'll get to Gareth Angel, and I'm sure Mr. Angel somewhere's got the Angels Army, and somebody's listening to this. I'm sure.
That's my army now. That's my army. They're not his. They're mine.
Well,
I'm the leader of the Angel Army now.
Well, you know what? You walked into this because I got to do my almost not quote unquote investigative journalism. Let's say I'm like a Blue Glasses Girl, but I have to ask you. I mean, were you concerned at all about the ending after it all unfolded? I mean, are you sure your army right now? I mean, talk to me.
Yeah, I thought he was going to lynch me. I'm not going to lie. I asked. I was like, can I get two people to stand either side of me so they don't attack me? The first time, shenanigans happened. We won't go into that, but I should have walked away with the title. The match got restarted. But when I originally had the title, he was trying to steal it off me. People were trying to, like, he was not happy. He did not want me to have the title. And then, so when I actually won it, it was kind of like Undertaker losing the streak. That's the impact Gaz has in GTM. The reaction was, oh no. And it was amazing.
Well, I got a couple of comments in here from Blue Glasses Girl, and she does, again, a phenomenal job, of course. She is a huge, tremendous part of GTM. I want to make sure that she is recognized for all her hard work and her great things. And she first says, best house band. You should have been there in person. The bass was amazing. We marched out. Yeah, I tell you what, the guitar I thought was great. I thought just the atmosphere, I thought the music was perfect. And clearly, GTM does things a little differently, where you get, let's say in some other companies, you get, generic music. With GTM, you get like quality first-rate music. So that's a great point. Also, Blue Glasses Girl here says, I'll see you on the 14th. Absolutely. And she also says to you here, Mr. Johnson, she says that she thinks that the Angel Army will have something to say here. I mean, what say you?
Well, I've got the microphone, so what they have to say doesn't matter, does it?
Hypothetically, I mean, I can't argue with that. I mean, there is a point that you have. If you have the microphone,
I'll speak louder than them.
Okay, all right. So that's obviously opinion, I guess, between Blue Glasses Girl and you. Yeah, you have anything else you want to say to Blue Glasses Girl? Because I feel like I'm sure you're gonna request things differently as champion. I mean, how would you do things differently?
I better have my own dressing room. I want nothing but wine gums in a bowl, but specifically the red ones. I want a map of Salford on the wall. I want celebrity guests in the front row to come and bow down to me. I want it all. I deserve it.
Well, you are the world champion, so listen, I mean, clearly dangerous.
I think good to share the changing room. I want me and my boys to have our own personal dressing room where none of them the rest of the stinky roster can even.
Well, I'm sure we'll be speaking about some of the roster here shortly, but let's get another comment in here from Blue Glasses Girl, again, who does a phenomenal job. And she says, it was more than, oh no, there was silence, a literal minute of silence when Jack took the title. I have never heard the crowd that silent before. I mean, your response to that?
Because he didn't expect it. and it was a genuine natural reaction, and I've never seen anything like that in UK wrestling, and it just goes to show how much they hate me and how much I love it. It brings me so much joy at how shocked they actually were, because I knew from get go I was going to be the champion, and I knew that was the right time. And then for the reaction, it was priceless. And if I could have it as my ringtone, I would.
Let me ask you a question, if you don't mind. And as a performer and as a wrestler, when you have something like that, where you see the crowd in such shock, such disbelief that it actually happened, leave aside that you're a part of it, leave aside that you won the match. But in terms of a wrestler, I mean, that has to be so fulfilling, so satisfying that you were able to pull that off.
It's insane. You can't put it into words how it actually feels. It's like it's goosebumps. The hairs on the back of your neck stand up. That kind of feeling. Just makes you feel proud. You know what I mean? We all feel the same emotions. It doesn't matter who you are.
Sure, absolutely.
You can't help get a feeling of pride. You know what I mean? We've got these people so invested in what we're doing that they're so shocked at what's happened. It's insane. You know you've done a good job, and it makes everything worth it.
Is that something? Listen, and I'm sure you're going to be a world champion for a long, long time here in GTM. I'm sure you're going to win many, many more world titles. But when you look back, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 years from now, is this a moment that you're going to relive and replay in your mind?
1,000%. It was the first solo championship. It meant the absolute world. You know what I mean? And on a personal note, Gaz has done a lot for me as a person, and to be able to share that moment with Gaz and the Dangerous boys, this time last year, I was literally talking to Rabbit earlier. We wasn't even training.
I know, because everybody we spoke with here, it would be like, well, do you think we can come back? There was so many companies. Listen, we do a lot of work with KOW over in Barrow, and it was like they restarted and stopped, and they couldn't even make an announcement to return until all the way last fall. I mean, there was so many companies. The LWF, we didn't know. I mean, Odyssey, we had to wait. I mean, everybody had to wait. Right now, today is May 5th, Cinco de Mayo. Right around this time, I think it was almost a miracle if you guys got to go to the gym.
Yeah, literally. It wasn't until the 17th of May where everything opened up again.
Yeah, that's the point.
Now, fast forward however many months, and we're both world champions of promotions. Is crazy.
How much do you think about that? Now, I almost have to ask you before I get to Bentley and Moore and Gareth. I mean, how much do you think about something like that, where here we were last year and everything that went on in terms of COVID and lockdowns and just the overall downtrodden feeling we felt, especially in the UK. Leave aside where I am, but in the UK, I mean, we went through things that I think were a lot more extreme than we did in America, because frankly, America's, half of America never thought COVID existed, and the other half was, really intensive about making sure everybody was locked down until they couldn't handle it anymore. I mean, how much do you think about something like that? Maybe use it as motivation to say, you know what, look at where I am now and look at where we were.
Yeah, well, it's funny you say that. I'll be really honest with you. So, obviously, for everyone, wrestling means the absolute world. But to me, I won't lie to you. 10 years ago, it was 2012. I didn't have a home. I was 15 years old. I didn't have a home. I was passed from pillar to post. I wasn't even allowed in school for education, nothing like that. And now to work super hard to get to somewhere where you think you're kind of making a name for yourself, and then for COVID to come and get stripped away, and then to rebuild yourself back up to the top, it's insane. I think about it every day in my life. I don't know if it's weird, but I think about the little things all the time, and it's stuff like that makes you keep going. You know what I mean?
Let me ask you a question, and this is totally slightly off of what we're going to talk about here, obviously, in terms of what we're going to have at Resurrection and Bolton Town Wrestling. I'll get to all that, but what would you say to the Jack Johnson of 10 years ago? What advice would you give him now that where you are and you've been able to turn your life into where you've made it, where you're a world heavyweight champion?
Follow your heart, and just have faith. I don't mean that I just mean have faith in yourself.
Sure.
You nothing can stop you. You know what I mean? I always had in the back of my mind like, I need to be a wrestler. I need to do it. I need it to happen. So for me, it would definitely follow your heart. Like, yeah, 100%. Follow your dreams. You get one shot. Why not?
What advice would you give to anybody that was also in the spot that you were in, because you did overcome the odds. You did make something of yourself where now people listen, regardless of what happens in the ring and such, there's a lot of people who are going to look at you and they're going to look up to you, whether it's in Salford or anywhere else. You're a world champion. So what advice would you give to somebody that's in the same situation as you currently?
Don't give up. There's always hope. You know, you have to have hope. Just don't, like, it's cliche, but don't give up, because the second you're done, and the second you do give up, there's no coming back from that. You know what I mean? There's always a way back. There's always light at the end of the tunnel. You just got to know why you want it.
Well, you definitely want it, and these are reasons why we definitely want to follow Jack Johnson on Twitter and Instagram at Jack Johnson Pro, GT Ministries UK on Twitter, Facebook, also Instagram as well, because this is a company that we are very, very excited about. For we are always happy to continue to talk with, and I am the host of the Sports Report and the station manager here of Sportswire Radio, the Reverend Tom Bryson. We are speaking with the world champion, and of course Jack Johnson. He pulled it off. He was finally able to get a one over on Gareth Angel, and we are talking about that and all things related to his journey and GTM as well. And that brings me then to, again, the number one contender, and that is Bentley, the vigilante of pro wrestling. And he's going to be a tall task, pun intended, because he is a tall man. So I know that you've got to win over him in the past. I know that obviously you're going to talk about some of the things that we just spoke about a little while ago, but set the tables for everybody who's going to come and watch you in the main event next Saturday between you and Bentley, and what we can expect, because he's going to be prime and poised, because, you know, he's a number one contender for two companies right now.
Yeah.
GTW and GTF. So he's going to have a lot of motivation here. He's going to want to be Becky T. Belt. I mean, he's coming for you. And you know a lot of people in Bradford are going to be behind him. He's essentially now the guy that's the heir apparent to Gareth Angel at the moment. I mean, he's coming for you. I mean, are you a little concerned that he's going to definitely look to make an example of you and maybe show that that title win was a fluke? I mean, you got to have some pressure here coming up.
Yeah, of course. Absolutely. You can never overthink someone like Bentley. You can't overlook him, because he's an incredible talent. But like I said earlier, there's a mental difference. Like, I need to beat Bentley in good fashion. I need to prove myself, to validate myself on a personal level, that I belong here, that all my life choices have been the right choices. And to Bentley, this is, it's a title. It's cool. It boosts my ego. It's something to put on my CV. It'd be nice to bring it home to the missus and my dog. But he doesn't understand that it's real life to me. Like, this championship has done so much more than he could ever imagine. You know what I mean? Bringing this title home, I've made people cry. You know what I mean? This will not have the same impact for Bentley. He wants it. He doesn't need it. That's my mentality going into the fight.
Are you training for him differently than when you trained for Gareth? Because you and Gareth had such a rivalry. You could feel the intensity between you and him. Are you training for him differently? Yeah,
in a sense of more offensively, because Bentley's going to be one of them. He's going to have tricks up his sleeve. He's going to have an answer for everything I've got. So I'm going to need to keep him down. I'm going to need to hold him at an arm's length. You know what I mean? I'm going to need to know where he is. So yeah, definitely.
Okay, those are certainly fair points here. And let me throw this out there, because I don't want to tip my hand, and I don't want to give away what Bentley's thinking, but I'm just thinking about it out loud here, because you've got Dangerous, right? You've got Rarebit, the Metal God Alex Boylan. We'll see what happens between Maverick Matt Williams and you guys, but I have to think that you have to be very cautious of the first few minutes of the match, because he knows that you've got the numbers game in your favor, right? He knows that you got assistance outside the ring. So from your vantage point, you just got to stay away from the first few minutes with the Claymore, because he's going to look to end it quick. He's going to look to
Yeah.
end it within the first 5 minutes, because
And
I
that's
think the
the aim of
longer
the
this
game,
match
really.
goes, it's advantage you. Talk to me.
Yeah, ending it's the aim of the game. You want to win as quickly as possible. We all get paid by the hour. You know what I mean? But that's the difference. That's his plan. You can read him like a book. I know that's what he's going to be looking for, and it takes 2 seconds to push the ref in front of him. It takes 2 seconds to move out of the way. It takes 2 seconds to lower the rope so he falls out the ring. You know what I mean? As long as it takes 2 seconds to hit the Claymore, it takes 2 seconds to get away from the Claymore as well.
I almost have to ask you then, have you watched back the match or previous matches, even between you and him, to get ready for next Saturday?
Yeah, 100%. I love doing research. I love finding ways that I can better myself. I don't really look too much at what they're doing. I look at how, if they're got the offensive on me, I want to know why. How have I let myself in that position where I'm on the defensive? And I think that's tactically the way you need to look, because the less I'm on the back foot, the chances of me winning are obviously higher.
Well, I'm almost curious about this here, and before we get to a few more thoughts on Bentley and Mr. Angel and some other things you're working on, what's the response been like, conversely, in Salford, now that you are their world champion? I mean, I have to say, are you a hometown hero now in Salford? I mean, I almost have to throw it out there.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. It's had a ripple effect, this championship. Salford's on the way up, right? And I'll be honest, before I won this title, my brother couldn't say he was in full-time employment, but me bringing this title home is now giving him the motivation to go on and do that. My sister now is in the process of owning her own business, and the world's on the up, and it's because, like I said, I needed to bring this home to prove that it can be done, to give them that kick up the backside, to go out and pursue the dreams.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if I've heard this here before. In 3.5 years, I'm on Sportswire Radio. I don't think I've heard a world champion that's been as, quote unquote, as uplifting for their town. I mean, we've heard a lot from Mr. Angel, but you apparently have uplifted those in Salford. I mean, more so than anybody I could have imagined.
People often overlook wrestling and the opportunities wrestling provides. Do you think Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson was in a position to do anything like this before he got into wrestling? No, he was not.
Absolutely not.
I'm in wrestling to make millions. Why wouldn't I be stupid? Why would I just be here to hurt myself? No, I'm here to make millions. I'm here to put my family, my people, my city on the map. And currently that's what I'm doing. And I'm proving everyone wrong in the process.
And Becky Fox agrees with, she's saying Salford, 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 Salford. I almost have to ask you, I mean, have you seen people come out of the woodwork in Salford that all of a sudden want a piece of Jack Johnson? They want another one.
I've had people from high school that used to laugh at me when I was a wrestling fan, congratulate me on being. I've had people that used to try and pick on me, you know all that stuff. I've had them congratulating me, asking me if I'm going to be on WWE. You know what I mean? I've had teachers coming out of the woodworks being like, I thought you'd be in jail, let alone a world champion. And I'm like, don't doubt me.
It's almost like now, it was like, Jack, I was just kidding. Everything I said about you all those years ago, it was like, what? That never happened, right? All of a sudden, now they want to piece you all of a sudden.
Now, don't they? But piece of this pie, I tell you that.
Listen, ladies and gentlemen, for those that might be listening to this on sportnarium.com/player, and if you're watching this on Roku, I have to point this out because, listen, I see all the world champions on the wall of the current champ of GTM, Jack Johnson, where I see it's The Miz, whether I see, I think, Trish Stratus, I see Randy Orton, Rey Mysterio. I mean, forget about all of them. I think soon in Salford, we're going to have to create a Jack Johnson poster. We're going to have to create who is going to do that? Who do we have that we can create that poster? Because I'm looking at all those guys and gals, and make no mistake, they're tremendous athletes, tremendous world champions they were. But, I mean, I think it's pretty soon we're going to have to see a Jack Johnson poster over there.
We'll get that in the works. One to cover the whole wall. The whole wall. We'll cover it. A mural.
Well, certainly, I have a good feeling of that. And I almost have to ask you this question, and I'm going to draw this directly to a Bentley opponent. I want to You have the shot when it comes to Bentley, the vigilante of pro wrestling. So before we speak next Saturday and see you and him in the ring, what do you want to say to Bentley? Because you're up, you're the champ, you have the floor. So for those that are watching and listening to this, and especially our GTM fans who are going to be there in Bradford coming up next Saturday, what do you want to say to Bentley before your match?
Sorry. I'm sorry. That's all I can say, because I'm sorry that it's you that I have to destroy. I'm sorry it has to be you that is essentially the sacrifice to greater things. I'm sorry because you're one of the good ones. You work hard. Like I said, you're respected. But I need to beat you to validate myself to every person in the back, to every person watching it, that I belong here, that what I'm doing is the right thing. And you can't match that intensity. You can't match that mindset. So bring your A game, please, because when I beat you, I know I've beaten the best and I can have that validation that I crave. So please be on your A game. Don't get injured. No excuses. No one believes that I should be champion, so it's time to make them believe.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, ladies and gentlemen. These are reasons why you need to go follow GTM, Instagram, GT Ministries UK, Twitter, GT Ministries UK, like their Facebook page, GT Ministries UK, because something tells me we are going to be in for a fight. Forget about Canelo Alvarez. Forget about Backlash this weekend. Jack Johnson and Bentley, I mean, that's going to be a match that I would pay a lot of pounds for. I would pay, I don't know, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 pounds to see, because this is going to be a world championship match that you are going to remember for a very, very long time. It is going to be Judgment Day, but something tells me here there's going to be a lot of judgments being handed out there in the ring between these two guys. I cannot wait. And we have another comment from another fan here that has jumped in here and says, let's go Johnson. So, Mr. Johnson, Mr. Champ, you certainly have a fan here that is definitely a big supporter of yours. So we want to make sure that everybody also continues to follow. You cannot stress it enough. Jack Johnson Pro. Also, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, he's out there as well. Make sure you follow him, because he and Dangerous, they're going to be dangerous, I got a feeling, for a very, very long time. And if you like what you hear from us on Sportswire Radio, do give us a like on Facebook at Sportswire Radio. I'm 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. You can listen to all of our great content on sportnarium.com/player. I am the host of the Sports Report and the station manager here of Sportswire Radio. We're speaking with GTM World Heavyweight Champion Jack Johnson in his first interview since he won that championship at Resurrection. So very, very excited about that. We also have another link here from Thank You Bluegrass's Girl for this. For more information also on purchasing a ticket. So you got all that social media information, but thank you, Blue Glasses Girl. And you got to make sure everybody follows her Instagram, also like her Facebook page, all the great work she's doing. You want to go to www.gtministries.co.uk/events. That's www.gtministries.co.uk/events, because that's where you can find out more information on buying a ticket to see Jack Johnson, buying a ticket to see some other people in the GT Ministries roster, because we're going to have an announcement when it comes to some further guests coming on here between now and the next week related to Judgment Day, and they'll also recap Resurrection. So something tells me here that the Judgment Day is coming, and it's going to be for everybody. And you want to make sure, again, also where you can also see Blue Glasses Girl, because Blue Glasses Girl is a huge part of all the great things that GT Ministries is a part of. So make sure you go there as well. And we'll come back to GT Ministries in a few minutes, but I got to also talk to you, Champ, about what's going on at BTW there, because obviously you're going to have to get back on the horse there and get back on there. And for those that might be watching and listening to you, talk about that before we come back into GT Ministries.
So we just got off the back of possibly the best show BTW have done.
Well, I heard reviews from that from a lot of talent that were there.
Well, yes, absolutely. It's ever growing, and it's amazing to be a part of it. But unfortunately, things happened. Me and Boylan had a match with Keenan from Northwest Strong, and
We know Keenan very well. Yep.
yeah. Both amazing talents, both fantastic. Obviously, it was an all-out brawl. But coming out of that now, I've just got to get back on the wagon, if you know what I mean. Get back to winning ways, kind of thing. There's something I kind of want to address though, right? And I don't know if he's going to be watching this, and I hope he is, or I hope he catches it. But there's a geezer called Lucas Jackson.
We heard. I'm sure you heard, because I know that you were in our chat with Mr. Jackson before the Gold Rush.
Yeah, well,
I remember very well.
I don't really like him. I'm just going to be straight.
And he doesn't seem to like you very much.
Nah, but that gives me all the reason to not like him.
Okay.
So I'm going to make a bold little prediction with you now. I'm going to say this. By this time next year, I promise you, I will have the BTW title over this shoulder. Okay? And if I don't, I will leave BTW. I'll go.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me get this straight. Did you just say, for those who are watching and listening, did you just say that you're going to leave BTW if you're not the world champion right now on May the 5th, 2023? Are you sure?
This time in 1 year, if I'm not the champ, I'll go. If I can't be the best, then I don't want to be there. If I can't validate myself, then I'm going to go on to bigger, better things. But I'm confident in myself and my abilities. When I become the BTW champion, I want Lucas Jackson to present that belt to me himself. And I think that's a pretty fair deal.
I tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, this might be one of those expressions where, is it too good to be true? I mean, are you sure? I'm going to ask it to you one more time. Are you sure, champ?
Yeah. The choice is his. If he wants to give me some belief,
are you concerned though that the current champion in BTW is Rarebit? Are you concerned about that at all?
Fun fact, Rarebit's never beaten me in a one-on-one situation. I've got that guy's number. I'm the person that could beat him. I know that for a fact.
I almost have to bring this up here because now that Rarebit, you've pointed out that he's never beat you in the ring. I mean, you guys.
All I have to do is put a mask on him, and he's right by my side. I've got him like the back of my hand. I know how his brain works. I see people like him in Salford all the time.
So you're not concerned about some of the stuff we saw in GTM with maybe?
He's a big, huge beast, but I'm smart. I don't overlook him. He's scary. He scares the life out of me.
I think he scares the life out of pretty much everybody he's in the ring with.
Yeah, that's true. But when you're beating someone, when you get in the ring with someone like Rarebit, you get to know him, and for as big and large and as powerful as he is, he's a monster. He only wants to hurt people. You know what I mean? And I'm smarter than him, and I know that for a fact. And I've got the confidence that not a lot of people have. A lot of people get pushed back by the fear, and you know what I mean? But
well, I almost even have to throw it out there, and I hope I'm not poking the beast here, but listen, to be fair, Rarebit may not even be the BTW champion much longer because Bentley was also the #1 contender there. So, I mean, I almost have to throw it out there. I mean, you might be seeing Bentley a lot over the next year, it seems like. There's a possibility.
I hope not. But he's got to get through me to get to Rarebit first. So we'll see how he gets past next Saturday.
Well, I almost have to ask you a question. Let's leave GTM aside for a second. Let's leave GTM aside because we know that Judgment Day is coming Saturday between you and Bentley. But he's the #1 contender there at BTW. So I almost have to throw it out there. I mean, I hate to put you on the spot, but I'm going to do it because people are listening and watching to this. I mean, who would you rather face for that BTW championship? Rarebit or the vigilante of pro wrestling, Bentley? I mean, I'm going to throw it out there.
Triple threat.
Like a true politician there. You ducked the question and said triple threat.
Because if I can beat them both, then winner.
You could be a Roman Reigns there, where you stack both of them and double pin them like last year. But if it's triple threat, that means your odds, though, of being champion get reduced, though, to 33%. Are you sure you'd want a triple threat?
Yeah, because I can hit someone over the head with a steel chair. It's a good match. I feel like I have more of a chance. I feel like if it's me in a steel chair versus Rarebit and Bentley, I've got a bit more than 33% chance. Now, I'm no Scott Steiner, but...
Well, I'm sure you saw Twitter that's been trending for whatever reason the past few weeks in the Scott Steiner interview on TNA where he talked about the percentages and he went on and on and on. So, yeah, don't give us the Steiner math. Whatever you do, champ, don't give us the Steiner math. So, obviously, we'll see. But I almost have to throw it out there because you spoke about Lucas Jackson, and Lucas Jackson, certainly, he has no love lost for you either. But, I mean, how do you figure out to interject yourself into that world title picture and find a way to where you can get that opportunity, to where you've gone on the record now and said, if you're not world champion at this time next year, you're out of BTW. So how are you going to find a way to put yourself into that position?
I know where he lives. So,
well, don't tell us the address on air because
I'm not a grass. I wouldn't do that. But I'd pay you a little visit already before all this, so he knows what I'm about. He knows what I will do. So if he's smart, if he wants his own protection, if he loves himself, he will give me what I want, and that's how I will do it. It's what I've done everywhere. It's what I did.
Well, I can't argue with that. You are the GTM world champion. Can't argue there. I can't argue with that.
I'm inevitable. Wrestling is my life. Wrestling is my business.
You have proven it. Listen, I can't argue with you. There's a lot of people that can come on and they can't back up facts, but you backed it up, my friend. You said here, listen, you were on here about 2 months ago, maybe a little over 2 months ago, right? And we talked about you and Gareth Angel, and you were the number one contender. And listen, you proved it. You proved that you are the man. You proved that you are Jack the Champ Johnson. You proved that you're the guy that everybody in GTM has to bow down to. You proved that you are the king. You proved now that we're going to have a new day in town here at GTM. We now know that Salford is the place that everybody now has on the map. It's no longer Bradford, it's Salford. So listen, I mean, I can't argue with those facts. Can't argue with them.
Nobody can. No one can. Can't argue with the truth.
Well, I'll tell you what. Is there something else that you might want to say to Mr. Jackson? Because I'm going to throw it out there for you in that Mr. Jackson is going to be coming on here in a few weeks. And certainly he's going to have a lot to say about what's going on in BTW. So I'm going to allow you to fire another shot at Mr. Jackson because something tells me that Mr. Jackson is going to be hearing this. He is watching this. And something tells me that Mr. Jackson is going to definitely have a lot to say when he comes back on here in a few months and gets us ready for heaven and hell.
Make it happen, you loser.
All right, well, I'll tell you what. I mean, he certainly, I'm sure, is going to hear that here loud and clear. And certainly, is Mr. Jackson a loser? I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, obviously, that's something that will be...
Never won.
Well, that's a fair point as well. I mean, obviously, he's not the champion. He hasn't been a world champion. And these are reasons also why you need to keep up to date with Bolton Town Wrestling. You can do that on Instagram, Bolton Town Wrestling, also Facebook as well. Certainly there is a lot to prove here. And certainly, obviously, something tells me that we have not heard the last of Jack the Champ Johnson in BTW. And a lot to talk about here in BTW in the near distant future because, well, Bentley's a part of it as well. He is the number one contender there for the championship. And I want to also ask for those who are watching and listening to this who are huge fans of yours and certainly who want to find where are you wrestling. I almost have to ask, what other companies are you going to be wrestling in the near and distant future for?
So, June, words then.
I think you've been getting ready for too many. And I hear you got like 5 interviews planned, and maybe you're just all of a sudden thinking about what to do with those, and that's why you kind of flubbed in there. Totally understandable. You're a champion. You're a busy man. I get it.
Busy man. Sorry. Wrestling in June. The one called Masonic Hall. That's what I was trying to get out. 18th, I believe. It's going to be killer. It's going to be insane. Some of the talent on the show, there's guys like Lance Rivera.
We know Lance Rivera very well. I mean, he's a little different than you. I mean, he's kind of like, they call him the Playboy Prince. You're pretty much like from the mean and gritty streets of Salford, and your background and his background.
I think it's cool, man. I think it's cool. I'd love to go for a drink with that guy.
Yeah, I tell people all the time, if you want to go out in the town, who do you go out with? You go out with the Playboy Prince, Lance Rivera. That's the guy. Listen, so and you're the world champion. Listen, you and him, that combo.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's go.
Let's make it happen. Listen, we're gonna bring him back on. He's been a regular here with us a couple of times, so we'll bring him back on, and we'll certainly bring it up. Who else is in this company that we might know of?
Dylan Roberts is British wrestling.
Absolutely, sure.
Yeah, 100% Welsh beef. Joey Marcus, pirate guy.
We know Joey Marcus very well.
Yeah, there's loads of great talent. Loads. Honestly, and listen, we've got plenty more announcements coming soon. So I'll definitely give them a follow, check them out.
And before I get back into GTM, because I know there's definitely people that want to hear me talk about GTM, and I promise I'll do that here in a few minutes. But when it comes to these different companies, these new companies, I know BTW we spoke about here in the past, but is that something that is a goal of yours to branch out and wrestle at different companies and such? I mean, walk through that.
1,000%. I just want to wrestle everywhere I can. I just want to have fun while I'm doing it. That's the main thing. I want it to be super serious. I want it to be entertaining. I want to have fun. I want it to be safe. The main thing. But I think now's the time that I've always put myself on the back foot in terms of putting myself out there, because I've just kind of gone with the wind, just kind of seen what's happened. But since winning the title, since getting all the feedback and everything like that, I have to push myself out there now. I have to do it. I have to take that step. There's loads of places that I really want to work, loads of places that I want to get in touch with and get down. Just to even watch shows, just to even get my foot in the door, just to network. There's loads like Wrestle Island, one of those. It's always been.
Listen, the Playboy Prince Lance Rivera is wrestling for the world title there later this month.
Yeah, and you know what? I hope he brings it home. I hope he does. Let's go, Lance. But it's definitely on the bucket list. Definitely a goal. There's Sovereign Pro that's just starting up October 1st. Is their first show. Would love to be a part of that at some point when the time's right and if the interest is there, you know what I mean? And there's loads of places.
I think Future Shock Pro Wrestling has to be on the list. Future Shock?
Yeah. Why not? We'll see what happens. It's Manchester based, you know. See what happens if the interest is there. The joy with British wrestling is there's places everywhere.
Absolutely. Yeah. The scene is the scene is burgeoning. I can't believe that there was a time where people were saying, oh, the British wrestling scene was dead. And I've been on the air for 3.5 years, and I've been covering the scene here for about 1.5 years, right? And when I hear that from people still, I say, what are you smoking? What are you talking about? Because there is so many companies out there that the scene to me is just guys have an opportunity. Let's take May 14th as an example. May 14th, we've got the LWF's event. We've got KOW's event. We've got GTM's event. Just May 14th alone. And there's other companies out there. Brian Aderson's another example who's come on here, and he's wrestling twice on May the 14th.
Yeah,
I mean, Brian's the man. So, I mean, you have a Brian Adelson thought? You have anything you might want to say about it? Because he's a big fan of ours.
I was lucky enough to wrestle Brian Adelson, come off on the losing side, but I had
Brian Adelson, boy, they're Ronin.
I had so much fun, honestly. I was quite nervous before the match because it all happened so fast. And you know what? It was super sound. I had so much fun. I genuinely think the guy should be everywhere.
This guy, let me tell you something. I've watched a lot of his matches, and this guy is... He's a tough guy to be in the ring with, though. Let me say this. He's very tough to be in the ring with. So
he's hard and hits fast.
He's definitely a guy that we're going to be paying attention to here very closely here. And obviously all the things that he is a huge part of, obviously KOW he is a part of. We'll be speaking a lot about that with him. He's back on the air with us right after next week. But my point is, listen, you think about the wrestling scene, and guys have so many opportunities really to wrestle. There was a time you think about it and say, well, I could only wrestle at this place one week. Another week, I've got to go to another place. But now, I mean, listen, Brian's a perfect example. He's wrestling twice under 14. So I really think for somebody like you, the opportunities are really endless, and especially now because you're a world champion.
Yeah, hopefully this opens people's eyes now to see what I'm about, to see that I've got the talent and I've got the fight to go the distance. You know what I mean? I can hang with the best.
Oh, you definitely can. Listen, beating Gareth Angel and becoming a world champion, you definitely are one of the best. You are
definitely. Go the whole
definitely.
lives about being champion. You know what I mean? Some people go the whole careers.
Listen, there's wrestlers that we have on here. Wildfire Nate Reese, and he's had a decorated career, never been a world champion, right? There are wrestlers left and right that have been on this show and been on this station that they've been main eventers.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, Reynaldo's the LWF champion. It took him 10 years to get back to the mountain. Your career, you did it in such a short time. I mean, listen, there are wrestlers that
I've barely had 100 matches.
And you're a world champion already. Listen, I just brought up Wildfire Nate Reese, who's probably been in the ring, I don't know, had thousands of matches in his career. Reynaldo took him 10 years to come back and win the championship. 10 years. And you did it in literally, I don't know, 15 minutes. I mean, you were like, yep, all right, conquer that. I mean, so clearly you're going to conquer much more companies. So listen, I know that Steve Bibby, I know ALP and KOW. I know the guys in Odyssey. You go to those companies, you're going to conquer them just like you conquered GTM. And I know that Mr. Jackson is going to be listening to this. If you're saying to us that you're going to be the world champion in a year from now, I might like my odds with you, champ. That's why they call you Jack the Champ Johnson here.
What are going to do when I'm the champ?
Oh, listen, you're welcome here anytime you want to. Listen, you're the champion, right? I mean, so obviously you're a king, right? So if you're going to tell us to have it, we're going to be at your beck and call. You're the world champion, all right? So listen, when we're world champion, listen, I'm even going to make you chuckle. I had a very, very important call just before we were about to go in here. Someone was very close to me. I actually said, I have to speak with the world champion right now. I've got to get back to you because you're the world champion. So that person, unfortunately, was in like a very difficult predicament. But I actually said, I got to talk to you later because I'm speaking with the world champion right now. That's like speaking with the prime minister. That's like speaking with the president of the United States. If I'm speaking with the world champion, everything else has to be dropped. So that's the bottom line here because the host of the Sports Report and the station manager here, the Reverend Tom Bryce, said so. We've got another about 20 or so minutes with Jack the Champ Johnson. And I cannot stress this enough. You need to follow him on Instagram, Twitter, Jack Johnson Pro. You also need to follow GT Ministries UK, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Please subscribe because the Judgment Day is coming. And for whatever reason, I was thinking about this here before I get to a comment from GT Ministries. I was thinking about the Van Halen song Judgment Day because there is a Van Halen song called Judgment Day. And I have to say, it would really fit nicely for what we're going to see here between Bentley and Jack the Champ Johnson. Because in the famous words of Sammy Hagar, former Van Halen vocalist, it's my life. Get out of my face. Get off my ass. Ain't no problem here because there ain't going to be a problem here between GT Ministries and all this stuff going on here. You're going to definitely want to check it out here. May the 14th. Tickets are still available. Definitely come out to Bradford. And we have a few more minutes with Jack the Champ Johnson. And Champ, I have to get this comment because you're going to want to hear it because GT Ministries has something to say here. And here's what we have here for management. So here we go. We've been watching intently. Thank you for representing GTM, Jack. We hope you are prepared for Bentley next Saturday. Your responses to that there?
Thank you for letting me be your champion, losers. I'm so prepared, you don't understand, honestly. It'll be Bentley's blood you have to clean off the mat. I hope it's used that are prepared for what I'm going to do to that geezer. I hope it's used that are prepared.
Well, let me throw this out there before I'm sure we get a response from GT Ministries. And we're going to break it here on Sportswire Radio. We're going to break it for all of our platforms, everybody who's tuned in. And thank you, everybody that is tuned in out there that is tuning in to hear World Champion Jack Johnson. But your opponent next Saturday, Bentley, the #1 contender, he's coming on the air between now and next week to respond to you. We saw the comment from a fan of Bentley's, but
Yeah.
coming on. He has asked us to respond to your challenges. He has come on here to represent himself after some of the things he's heard. Your reactions to that. Now Bentley's coming on next week to speak about your match, the main event for this championship that you hold right now at Judgment.
I'm going to sabotage it on him. I'm going to sabotage it for him. I'm going to pop the wheels on his car so he can't get home from work.
Is that legal?
I don't care.
Okay, well, certainly, if you have a car right now, I would say you better make sure that you get it off the road. Would that be fair to say? Get it off the road?
Yeah. Just get out of Manchester. Just go.
So would it be fair to say that Bentley, maybe the destruction won't be so bad if maybe he decides to forfeit next Saturday? Maybe say, you know what? I'll take the week off. Do you think that would be okay for him?
It would be better for him, yeah, to be fair.
So would you want to say maybe you're going to give him an opportunity if he wants to forfeit next Saturday and maybe decide not to show up, that you can be friends with him and maybe just, leave him alone?
I don't want to give him that opportunity because, like I said, I need to validate myself.
Okay. So you want him there, Saturday. So you want him to rest up. You want him not to leave the country. You want him not to get COVID.
Yeah, all jokes aside. Yeah, it's yeah.
Okay, so those are fair points. Let me ask you something, because we spoke a little bit about Gareth Angel, and I have to go back to the former champion, obviously the man that you are succeeding when it comes to representing GT Ministries. And obviously, certainly, something tells me that we haven't heard the last of Mr. Angel in GTM. I mean, what do you think happens with Mr. Angel in GT Ministries now? I mean, now that he's no longer the champion, I mean, I have to imagine that he's still going to want to deal with you. I mean, what do you think will happen with Mr. Angel in GTM?
I think he just needs to worry about what's going on right now. I think he needs to worry about Matt Williams. I think he needs to iron that little kink out. I don't know. There's got to be a reason Matt accepted. You know what I mean? There's got to be a reason.
Or is there something that you're speculating between him and Mr. Williams? I mean,
yeah, I think there's something going on between them. I think they should be worrying about that before he starts worrying about me. You know what I mean? I beat him now. What can he do?
So basically, your point is you don't have to be in the ring with Mr. Angel anymore. You beat him.
I'm done. I don't need him.
So would it be fair to say that Mr. Angel has to get back in the line at the end of the line when it comes to a shot at your championship?
Yeah, that's fair, isn't it? You know what I mean? I'm a fighting champion. I'm fighting on. I don't care. I'll headbutt you.
But you don't have to fight him as an example. Him, you don't have to fight.
I've already beat him. I don't need to prove myself against him. If he wants to fight, I'll meet him on the street corner. We can have a fight. We're not having a wrestling match for my title. He's got to earn that again.
So there's no reason for you to fight him then, because if you beat him, there's nothing to prove.
And Bentley's earned his place. We can't argue with that. Bentley's earned it.
Listen, I can't listen. Bentley beat Maverick Matt Williams. He pinned him.
Yeah. So you got to, lead by example. You've got to follow the rules. Can't just come out here demanding title matches.
But what do you make, though, of the Angels Army? What do you make of it? I know I asked you earlier that whole situation where we saw the Angels Army and just where you got out of town, to be fair. You ran for Dodge. You ran for the first minute you did, got into your car and ran to Salford, because I saw your compatriots, your compadres in Dangerous. They were in the ring. They were left, especially Mr. Boylan. I mean, you almost have to ask. I have to ask you what you thought when the Angels Army. I mean, are you concerned at all about that with that whole setup there? It seems like almost that there's, in a way, a resurrection of Gareth Angel there.
Yeah,
are you concerned at all about that?
I don't know how he did it. I don't know what's going on there. I don't know, the guy was in the casket and the guy was stood behind us. I'm sorry, but I'm not staying in the ring. I don't want no part of that. That's like Super Saiyan stuff, you know what I mean?
So
I was just like, no bother. I don't. They obviously tried to protect me, and I understand that, and I appreciate it. That's why we stayed in the ring with guys. But I was just like, no way. We just got back up. We just beat the snot out of him.
Have you seen something like that before in the ring? No, I know you've wrestled a lot. You've watched a lot. Have you seen something like that?
Never. It scared me. I didn't know what was going on. There's things falling from the roof. What was raining? That's not
It
even a
almost
joke.
felt like I saw like Gareth Angel. It was almost like he was just like going around and around. It was like almost like superhuman, almost
Yeah,
almost like he wasn't human.
yeah, literally, it was crazy.
Are you concerned that maybe you awoke a beast in Gareth Angel? Are you concerned
Yeah,
that maybe you did something to him that maybe nobody saw coming or channeled something different? Does that concern you at all?
potentially, Gareth prides himself on being the best that he can be, and I've taken that away from him now. I've deflated that ego that he has, and of course, it's going to awake something. But he's got to earn his way back to the top now, and as each day there's more talent coming into GTM. So can he earn his way back to the top? Is what I'm thinking.
Well, you know what? That's something that I would have to ask Mr. Angel on, and I would hate to speculate when it comes to the future of Gareth Angel and the World Championship and his place in that, because obviously that's something for Mr. Angel to decide what he wants to do. But what I will say after watching the match and obviously watching how that unfolded, you almost have to be concerned from one standpoint that it could be a new angel. It could be a darker
Yeah,
angel. It could be a more vicious angel. And like I said, I mean, obviously you dealt with him and you had a lot of success, but
it wasn't
I mean,
easy.
no, it wasn't. But
No,
you almost have to be concerned. I mean, you
yeah,
better make sure that you have dangerous. I mean, you better
yeah,
make
yeah,
sure you
yeah,
keep dangerous.
yeah. I'm just hoping Alex Boylan gets back from Vegas as soon as he can. To be honest, yeah, 100%. I'm concerned. He's going to be coming for his title back. Of course he is. Why wouldn't he be? He got to be looking over my shoulder every. You know what I mean?
Oh,
I
he
get,
might be Angels Army. Listen, when you
yeah,
go into Bradford, I don't know if you go into Bradford much other than for Saturdays
no,
at GTM each month.
nah.
But I would certainly say if you're in Bradford until you get into that
Yeah,
belt,
we need some
I'd be
protection.
watching your back, champ. I'd be watching your back.
Yeah, but it's a good job they've got my back in it. It's a good job now with a team again.
Do you feel like, before I get closing thoughts from you and ask you a thought or two on Mr. Angel and have one more breaking news here, part when it comes to GTM for next week's show and somebody we may have one tomorrow, it looks like. I mean, are you concerned that Dangerous, you guys are going to still be on the same page? You guys feel like now you guys are a cohesive unit now and we're
Yeah,
not going to see what we've seen from you guys in the past?
yeah. Now that we've moved past Gareth, I feel like the sights are clearer now. I think it's time we get some tag belts in. I feel like it's as the king of GTM. I'm going to put that forward to
So you would
GTM.
like to see Dangerous become the bloodline then? You would like to
Yeah,
see
yeah. And let's bring a women's championship in it, and then let's add a woman to
Well, that
Dangerous.
would make you guys more dangerous, no more pun intended,
Yeah,
than the bloodline, because the bloodline don't have the women's title. They only have the tag in the world.
yeah. Let's run the world. That's what I'm thinking.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm sure somebody at GT Ministries is going to be hearing that and certainly going to be taking notice here. And of course, one more time.
You have to listen to me now as the champ. So
Well, I'll tell you what, before we get out of here, I have to say it one more time. If you do want to come out and watch the main event between Jack Johnson and Bentley, Jack the Champ Johnson, you can buy a ticket, and you can do so over at www.gtministries.co.uk backspace events. You can go to gtministries.co.uk backspace events where you can buy a ticket. I understand there's a few tickets available still, so there are still a few left. So you want to make sure you get that ticket. And when you go to a GT Ministries event, it's not like just going to a wrestling event. It's almost as if like you got a concert, you get a prayer service, you get a whole number of different things within that. And these are reasons why you most certainly want to go out and buy a ticket for GT Ministries' upcoming event, Judgment Day. So we certainly looking forward to that. We have another comment here from GT Ministries. Apparently, they are listening attentively. So for you, Mr. Johnson, we will take your suggestions into consideration. We already have plans for both a tag and a women's division. I mean, your response.
good. Better get it sorted because we're hungry. We've got one title. We want them all of them.
So it's almost as if like you're making a difference already, because now it looks like GT Ministries is planning a tag division. They're planning a women's division. They're planning new things here. So, I mean, I guess it's fair to say under Mr. Angel's watch as champion, maybe we weren't going to get those things.
No, I definitely think we would. I definitely believe that it would have always been a plan.
Oh, you think it would have been the plan? Okay, all right, that's fair. I mean,
yeah, I think so. Yeah, but I think how soon it was going to become reality has changed.
let me ask you a few more questions before we get it, because I realize your time is precious. You're getting left and right requests for interviews, and you're getting left and right requests for autograph sessions and all those different things. But let me ask you this question. It's a simple one before I get to Mr. Angel, but this also relates to Mr. Angel, though. How do you think you'll be a different champion than when Mr. Angel was the champion? That's the first part.
Because Gareth made the title prestigious. This championship's been defended on the BBC. The championship's been defended in multiple promotions.
Yep.
I need to take it higher than that now. I need to take it one step further. I need to make it even more prestigious than that. So that's the kind of champion I'm going to be. I'm not going to run from anybody. I will go to every single... If the management of GT Ministries would allow me to, I would defend this title everywhere across the whole entire world against anybody.
I'd love to see you in Roman Reigns. Listen, let's unify the GT Ministry Championship. Let's do it.
I'll take both his belts.
Oh, I think you would. But you have Dangerous. And Dangerous right now might be more dangerous than the Bloodline. I would take Rabbit and the Metal God Alex Boylan over the Usos any day.
He wouldn't. You'd be stupid not to.
I would take you guys right now over 2-Bit and his group and KOW because, I mean, I'll tell you what. I mean,
a good little matchup, clash of styles.
Listen, I mean, Reynaldo. Listen, Reynaldo has nothing on you. I mean, listen, we've spoken about Reynaldo and Mr. Angel in the past. I mean, he's got a hard enough time in the LWF with Dan Evans. I mean, so I mean, I could go. Listen, Hangman Adam Page and AEW, I think would have a hard time with you. Zack Ryder would have a hard time with you. I mean, Matt Cardona, whatever you want to call him at this point. I mean. Listen, I'm thinking of world champions right now who I'd love to see you in the ring with. Obviously, Ryan Hunter and Odyssey. I mean, it's a long list of them. And I think right now you're at the top of your game. And if I'm any of those individuals, the underclass with 2-Bit or the bloodline with Roman or, listen, Reynaldo and the 12th and the 13th man that he has and Ryan Hunter and his group, I mean, that's an Odyssey with the spotlight. I mean, I wouldn't want any part of you – Rarebit and the Metal God Alex Boylan. But before I get closing thoughts from you, and I want to ask you this question specifically, because I know that Mr. Angel has to get at the back of the line like everybody else, but what do you want to say to him now that you've beaten him and taken his title?
I told you so. No one predicted that. No one wanted the outcome, and unlucky. Now you have to join the back of the queue. And at some point, I will see you down the line, and I will still be the champion. So, unfinished business or not, earn your way back, and I'll be waiting still. This title is going nowhere. You can line them up, I'll knock them down.
Ladies and gentlemen, it certainly sounds like the Van Halen song Judgment Day. Judgment Day is coming because that was definitely a loud and aggressive song, and I could hear those guitars. I could hear those vocals right now, and that could very well be the theme song for GT Ministries' upcoming event here next Saturday. It'll be Bentley and Jack Johnson for the World Championship. It'll be Jack the Champ Johnson's first defense. Bentley is the number one contender. And before I get closing thoughts, I want to ask you this last question, and this tie is related to GT Ministries for those that may be coming out or those that are on the fence and are hearing this interview and saying, you know what? Maybe I do have to come out to Bradford. Maybe I do have to come out and watch Jack Johnson and Bentley and watch the rest of the card here. So what do you want to say to anybody that's coming next Saturday or anybody that might be considering coming?
We're making history at GTM. I can't go into too much detail about what's going on behind the scenes, but there's some massive things in the pipeline, in the works. There's a reason it's got the whole wrestling world talking. There's a reason that the production value is by far better than most places.
Oh, it blows out of the water. You guys, it's like, I mean, GT Ministry spends, it feels like millions of pounds on their shows. I'm not kidding.
a massive shout out to the guys behind the scenes that make it all happen, because
You have a live band, you have music
it's
entrances.
live streamed. It's literally live streamed to YouTube, to Facebook, every show, and it's the only
How
show.
about the announce team that you guys have? The announce team is phenomenal.
The ring announcer is an opera singer.
I gotta be honest with you. I thought I had a good voice. I mean, this guy, when he said your name, he was like, Jack! So he did it better than I could. I couldn't have held that note that long.
The whole crew at GTM is phenomenal.
All right, and we have another comment in here very quickly, because I guess nobody wants us to leave. GT Ministries has said, we may not approve of your methods, but you acted within the rules, Jack. We will announce our #1 contender plans at the next wrestling church in June. For now, Bentley has earned his opportunity. So, I mean, listen, we're going to find out here. I mean, that's going to be any thoughts on that? You concerned at all?
I don't believe Bentley's got it in him.
So what you're telling me, wait a minute, because Bentley's coming on next week, and I almost have to ask this now that you just brought it up here. You almost brought up a keg of worms here. So are you telling me, let me get this straight here, that GT Ministries and the powers that be don't think Bentley's going to beat you next week? No, is that correct?
That message is enough to tell me that they don't have the faith in Bentley, because they should be focused on this match and this match alone. This match is going to be one of the biggest matches of GTM history. It's going to be.
Oh, I think it's going to be the biggest match of GTM history. Are you kidding? I think you're the champion and Bentley's the #1 contender. When have we had a match like this? Listen, Bentley, he almost broke the ring last time he was in the ring.
There we go.
He literally almost broke the ring.
His face. That's what I'll do. I'll break his face. But yeah, it's going to be bell to bell, absolute classic main event.
All right, so basically, you're telling us that it's a foregone conclusion next week.
Yeah, like I was saying, they should be focusing on this match. They shouldn't be looking ahead past this match at a new #1 contender. They should be focused on Bentley and supporting Bentley enough to beat me.
All right, so that's fair to point here. And obviously here, another comment in here before I do have to break news here, and not related to you, but so you can breathe a sigh of relief, but it is GTM related. But props to Ben Hall, ring announcer, Bradley Cook Pattinson, and Joel Cobra on commentary. Boy, I think somebody knows something I'm about to say next. Emma Roberts, a.k.a. Blue Glasses Girl. Again, Blue Glasses Girl. Huge shout out for Blue Glasses Girl. She does a phenomenal job. For backstage interviews, Adam Butler, Linda, is it Maslin, and the team at Fountains Church. We love the Fountains Church at Bradford for the production. It's all a team effort, including the students at the GTM Academy. I have to give a shout out to the Academy, because the Academy is doing a lot of great things. And if it's not for our academies, we don't have the great talent. We grow all of our talent in-house here, whether it's at GTM or anywhere else. So I want to give huge shout-outs to all of those great individuals, especially MC Bradley Cook Pattinson, especially Ben Hall on commentary, Blue Glasses Girl, who does a phenomenal job, big supporter of ours, Adam Butler, Linda Maslin, all the talent at the church at Bradford. Of course, you have to follow and support the Fountains Church. And I'm going to break it here because, speaking of Joel Cobra, it looks like there's a strong possibility he's coming on the air tomorrow. He's got a lot to say, a lot to talk about there. I mean, what do you think about that? I mean, you're not involved with Mr. Cobra, so obviously that's good news for you. So, I mean, you could be
business, me and Mr. Cobra, but I like him. I think he's a good guy. He means well.
He's a big man. He's a big man.
Big boy.
He's a big man. I mean, you think Bentley is tall? I mean, Mr. Cobra's pretty tall, too, in his own right.
Might have to pay him a little visit, the modern day mafia guys. Get a 4th and 5th member of Dangerous. Get extra protection.
Well, I got to tell you, could you imagine Rarebit and Mr. Cobra in the same group together? I mean, my goodness. I mean, so clearly, I mean, is somebody... are you putting feelers out there? I mean, are you doing recruitment?
Business.
Are you doing recruitment drives?
No, not so much recruitment, just security.
So you almost have to offer him, I guess, the benefits of what could be in Dangerous. I mean, certainly that could be.
Well, the champions in Dangerous. I'm the GT Ministries champion. Rabbit's the BTW champion. Boylan does what he wants.
He's a metal god. I mean, he's a metal god, right? I mean, forget about Rob Halford of Judas Priest. I mean, Alex Boylan's a metal god, right? So automatically, I mean, if you're a metal god, you don't need a championship, right? So obviously, God, right? I mean, God is bigger than a championship. So, I mean, I'm looking forward to speaking with Mr. Cobra. We were speaking with him off the air for the past few weeks, and I've obviously become a big fan of him, and obviously listening to him on the call also. Watching him in GT Michigan, he's going to be a part of some big matches upcoming there, obviously, on Judgment Day also. BTW, so very, very excited about that. And one more time, I want to give a shout-out to everybody at GT Ministries. Again, Ben Hall, Bradley Cook-Pattinson, Blue Glasses Girl, Adam Butler, Linda Molson, everybody there. Also, one more time before we get closing thoughts, GT Ministries UK Twitter, Instagram, also Facebook, YouTube. Please subscribe because you can watch Resurrection, all of GT Ministry shows. You can actually stream them live. If you're not in Bradford like I am, if you're all the way around the world like I am, you can still watch the GT Ministry shows from the convenience of your own home and watch Jack the Champ, Johnson, Bentley, and everybody else. So very simple. Make sure you subscribe to their page.
You can do it live. No catch up.
That's it.
You can do it live. You can catch up if you want, if you're busy.
Listen, that might be on the bucket list. I might have to come out to Bradford one of these days. Maybe
we'd love to have you.
Listen, the LWF guys have wanted me. KOW's wanted me. Odyssey's wanted me. I might have to do the tour. I might have to do. Franco Varga was on tour earlier this year. I might have to do the BTW tour, the KOW tour, the LWF, the GT Ministries. Obviously, so many other companies. I mean, the LWF. I can never forget about the LWF. I mean, listen, I might just have to go everywhere. So that might be something that's on the bucket list. We'll work on that. But in the meantime, Champ, it has been a tremendous honor to have you. Now, I want to give you the floor. I want to give you some closing thoughts. Anything else you want to plug? Anything else you want to share? And I can't thank you enough for giving us this opportunity. We're honored to have had the first interview with you since you won that GTM World Championship from Gareth Angel. So I turn it over to you. Anything you want to plug? Anything you want to share? I can't thank you enough, and the floor is yours, my friend.
So, plug-in wise, we've got June 10th, Bolton Town Wrestling's next show, which is going to be called Heaven and Hell.
Absolutely.
It's going to be some crazy stuff planned for that. Again, I can't give away too much, but it's going to be crazy, crazy stuff planned that I can't wait for everyone to see. Infamous Pro Wrestling in June is going to be insane. I really want to wrestle Gina, but we'll see what happens there. I'm gonna get on him about that match because that's a match I really want. Gina's fantastic. Should be everywhere. Obviously, May 14th, again, GTM, first title defense, something I'm going to be taking very seriously. 100%.
Oh, I have a very, very good feeling you are going to be taking it very seriously. Yeah. Jack Johnson Pro on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Check him out also here. Give him a friend request because something tells me you're going to want to be friends with a world champion. There's not too many times you get that opportunity to speak with a world champion. We were very honored to have that opportunity. Champ, congratulations. Congratulations on pulling it off. Congratulations on defying the odds. Congratulations on all the success. I'm looking forward to seeing you. And I'm looking forward to also seeing you how you pull off this guarantee between now and next year when it comes to BTW. I'm sure Mr. Jackson's going to have a lot to say about that. I'm looking forward to you being with us since you confirmed it with Bentley next week. So a lot to get into there with that as well. So congratulations, though. Thank you for all that you do. And looking forward to speaking with you soon. And congratulations on representing your hometown in Salford.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it massively. Thank you for having me on the show again. I love it.
Absolutely. As we are here on the Sports Report, the number one global sports show with the world heavyweight champion of GT Ministries, that is Jack the Champ Johnson. As he'll be in the ring next Saturday defending his championship against Bentley, who'll be in the house here next week. Tickets are still available. GT Ministries UK Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, also YouTube as well. I am the host of the Sports Report and the station manager here of Sportswire Radio, the Reverend Tom Bryce. We will be back here tomorrow night live on all of our platforms with several wrestlers, including Joel Cobra of GT Ministries, who we just announced. We will also have the scenario Nathan Gunn of the LWF, the asset Stephen Cross. We'll be speaking about the LWF, GT Ministries, and BTW thrown in there, and much, much more, because it is going to be a very, very, very busy week upcoming for us on Sportswire Radio, because we're going to be speaking about GT Ministries Judgment Day. We're going to be speaking about the LWF's Wasteland event. We're going to be speaking about KOW's upcoming event. So there is a lot of wrestling here in the UK. We are your one-stop place to cover it here on Sportswire Radio. I am the host of the Sports Report and the station manager here of Sportswire Radio, the Reverend Tom Bryce. Thank you, everybody, for watching and listening. If you're on sportnarium.com/player, you'll be getting a brand new piece of business show from the UK. We'll have Glenn and Jeremy speaking all things related to NXT UK and much, much more. And if you're on all of our platforms, I want to thank you for watching and listening to this. We'll be back here tomorrow night. We're getting ready for GT Ministries Judgment Day, the LWF's Wasteland, and much, much more. So thank you, everybody, for listening and watching. I am the host of the Sports Report and the station manager here at Sportswire Radio. We were with GTM World Champion Jack the Champ Johnson in his first interview since winning that championship from Gareth Angel at the previous Resurrection event for GT Ministries. Thank you, everybody. Good night. We'll be back here tomorrow night. I am the host of the Sports Report and the station manager of Sportswire Radio, the Reverend Tom Bryce.